It is time. We got to play Season 2 for almost 2 months already. And today, I'm gonna rank every item in Fortnite Season 2. While we go through the list, keep in mind that these weapons will be ranked as what they do best. Of course, we will not rank an SMG badly if it doesn't do well on long range. Or a sniper rifle badly if it does bad in close range. We will also rank all non-weapon items like Shield Bubble Jr., Wings of Icarus and so on. I will also rank each item in the tiers themselves, meaning we will have a designated number for each item at the end, starting from 29 and working our way all the way up to number 1. Keep in mind, I'm a zero build only player and this ranking will be for zero build. This channel is all about mastering zero build with weapon and item guides, hotspot analysis videos, tier lists and everything else that's relevant for zero build gameplay. My goal is to become the best together with you guys. Let us begin all the way at the bottom of trash tier. The worst item by far this season, number 29, Firebending. I can't begin to describe how bad this is. I tried desperately to make it work in my elemental bending explained video, and where there is some very minor usage of the alternative fire, at the end of the day it competes with the shotgun slot in ultra close range, and here it simply can't even compete with the pump shotgun. A weapon I've learned to hate over the first 2 seasons of chapter 5. The DPS is too low, and you have to all in this wonky jumping around while dealing almost no damage playstyle against people with real weapons. The bottom of trash tier. Next, number 28, the Thunderbolt of Zeus. People were yelling about it being too OP at the start of the season, but it was mainly because you could hit people behind cover in build with this. For zero builds it has been irrelevant from the start to finish. Hovering still in the air while everybody gets to shoot you completely for free is not the play. Yes, people found out the tech to battle this by dashing after every throw, but even then it's just not good, and also a huge waste of your dashes. And what if you use it when you don't have dashes? Completely useless and deserving of the second last pick on this tier list. And moving up to C tier, items that have some use but should not be in anyone's preferred loadout. We will also have a medallion in here, which is a bonus to have always, so it doesn't quite fit my own description of the tier. However, my thought process here was that it is an item you will pick up when you find it as a little extra, but won't specifically search or want it in your loadout on purpose. I'll get to it in a moment. First, on rank 27, the Wings of Icarus. Everybody played them at the start of the season because they're honestly a lot of fun to use. The big issue is though, they kinda suck. Yes, they're good for rotating, but this set really was an item slot when you can just get a car which is not only a rotating tool but also shields you from incoming damage, while the Wings of Icarus leave you defenseless in the air with an extended hitbox for everyone to see and shoot. Yes, it also comes with some good moves, mainly the mid-air rolls, which do let you dodge bullets, but the better your enemies are, the less useful the Wings of Icarus become. Pretty bad, but not quite trash tier. On rank 26, we have Ares Medallion. Bonus damage is nice to have, but is getting the damage only aspect of upgrading a weapon by 1 tier really worth basing your gameplay around? Like for example with Cerberus Medallion? No, not at all. Don't get me wrong, it's always better to have it than not to have it, but comparing it with the other medallions makes me put it in C tier. Rank 25, the Drum Gun. If you're not new to my channel, you know how much I try to make it work, but in the end, it just doesn't do anything good enough to be put over any weapon in the game currently. Its main issue is the accuracy, but the low DPS doesn't really help it either. Sadly, can't make it into B tier. The same goes for number 24, the Pump Shotgun. The fire rate is too slow. Honestly, even for pump shotgun, it's just too slow, and waiting for your next shot to be ready is ultra painful, especially since it also doesn't have good range. I could understand the ultra low DPS and slow fire rate if it was at least the shotgun with the most range, but no, it also has the worst range. Why epic? It's an honorary trash tier item just because of how much I hate it, but at least you can actually do some damage with it if you hit a headshot, so I'm placing it at the top of C tier. Now we're done with the bad items and we'll move over to the decent items. Usable, especially if you find them on drop. You can build your loadout around them, but there are better alternatives. The B tier. Rank 23, Shield Bubble Jr. It's decent and its best use is probably pushing in and out of bunkers when there are bunker campers, but in general the other 2 cover items, Earthbending and Portal Bunkers, offer more value. Duration is the weakest part of the Shield Bubble Juniors, however they're certainly good enough for B tier in my mind. Next on rank 22 will be Zeus Boost medallion. It does give you faster sprints, which is very good, and higher jumps, which can be an upside if played correctly, but can also be a downside when not. The biggest issue I have with it is that you can still only sprint the same distance. Someone at Epic decided the stamina bar should deplete faster if you sprint while holding the medallion. If this was not the case, I might consider it A tier, but this coupled with the sometimes weird jumping interactions makes me place it pretty low here in B tier. Number 21, the Frenzy Auto Shotgun. Wow, last season it was S tier, now it's all the way down here. This is simply because a certain auto shotgun, that we'll talk about later, is better, and the only advantage an auto shotgun ever has is DPS. Once it loses that advantage, any reason to play it is gone. It's still okay for people that don't feel confident in their aim and want to spam in close range, but to them I say, get good. The auto shotgun is still decent, but no better than the middle of B tier. Rank 20, the Ranger pistol. I really like it, and last season I put it in A tier. However, there are simply too many weapons that are played at this distance that are objectively better than a Ranger pistol. It's accurate, the DPS is fine, hitting headshots is easy, but again, other items in this slot outperform it. Rank 19. Almost at the top of B tier is the Tactical AR. Yes, probably controversial pick for most of you, especially those that haven't seen my latest video on the Tactical AR. But this thing is actually pretty good. I know, you won't believe me if you haven't seen the video, but go watch it and see if it doesn't change your mind. Briefly, if you play it with a 4x scope but on SMG distance, you have an absolute headshot machine. You can track heads specifically, no problem at all. This playset is very unique, and if S tier and A tier wouldn't be so packed, I would have loved to place it in A tier. However, it barely doesn't make it. Just as rank 18, the hand cannon. Man, do I love this weapon. I just wish it would shoot slightly faster. Its low fire rate is the main reason it's being held back here. The huge damage drop off makes it unusable in long range too, but hitting headshots on this thing, especially in legendary rarity, is insanely strong. Again, slightly higher fire rate and I would put it in A tier, but the way it is right now, putting it higher just doesn't feel right to me. Now onto A tier. Really good items that you can build your load around for sure already. At the bottom of A tier, at rank 17, we have Earthbending. The higher rank you are, the more important cover becomes in the endgame, and Earthbending has the advantage over Shield Bubble Juniors that it comes with infinite uses and infinite duration. It has a lot of HP, so getting rid of it is hard, and additionally it's very good at destroying enemy cover. It one-shot trees and demolishes porta bunkers even. To be honest, I could understand if you placed this in S tier yourself. However, I personally dislike having cover in one direction only and simply don't play cover items at all myself. So I understand that I might misjudge it and undersell it, but even I can't put it any lower than A tier. The same goes for the next two items, rank 16 the cluster clingers and rank 15 EMP grenades. I don't use them at all, but I have been absolutely owned by people that do occasionally. I put both in and near S tier last season. However, EMPs are quote-unquote nerfed by cast not being as important anymore this season, since there is so many cover items and rotation tools. But if you catch someone in a car with EMP grenades, it's good night for them. But even in normal combat, if you master them, they're insanely good. Same can be said about cluster clingers. While they are more focused on dealing with bunker campers, they were better at eliminating people in vaults last season, as bunkers come with a wall to hide behind. That's why I no longer put them in S tier. Rank 14, Hades Medallion. It helps you literally zero in an actual fight, which is why I don't put it higher. But what is the main killer of all Fortnite players? Being sniped in the head? Getting outgunned? Bad aim? Even lag? No. It's getting third-partied. Hades Medallion is perhaps the best item to counter third parties. Getting Siphon on elimination helps a ton with this. However, there is actually one item that does help even more against third parties and also does way more, so I can't place it any higher than the middle of A tier. Rank 13, the Harbinger SMG. It's basically the Hyper SMG from season 1, but not dog shit. It does what you want from an SMG and more, because the effective range is actually pretty high. If it weren't for a certain other SMG, I'd put it in S tier. But it does exist, so high A tier it is. Oh boy, I can see the rage in the comments about the next one. Get ready. Rank 12, A tier, the Warforged AR. Yes, I'm placing it that low. I mean, it's still very high, but it doesn't even make the very top of A tier. This is mainly because of two weapons that I think do the same thing it does and more and better, and another weapon that simply is the better all-rounder. Don't get me wrong, the Warforged AR is very good, but it doesn't make the cut for S tier. Rank 11, the Nemesis AR. I just made a video where I go in depth, like really in depth, about why it's better than a Warforged AR. Go watch that video. But if you want a very brief explanation, it has way better hipfire, better range, better accuracy, and better reload speed, making it a way more consistent weapon due to its range and accuracy, and way better weapon at defending in third-party situations, which I already mentioned I value very highly, because the reload speed is insanely much better on a Nemesis, an aspect many sleep on. Again, if you want my full explanation combined with a guide about loadout, attachments, strategy, and much more, go watch my recent Nemesis AR guide. Alright, we made it not only to the top 10, but also into S tier. Weapons and items that are absolutely goated and 100% worth creating your build around, or just so good that you don't want to play without them. There will be some items here that you'd probably not expect, but hear me out. At rank 10, our first item in S tier will be Bunkers. The, in my opinion, still best cover item and an absolute endgame killer. Only really super strong at higher ranks, but you won't see a zero build endgame in tournaments without every team running as many of these as possible, and for a good reason. Having strong, hard to destroy cover in all directions is insanely crucial if you are surrounded by other great players. Easy pick for S tier. At rank 9, Shockwave Grenades. I would place them higher if it weren't for a specific other item that makes other movement items look mid in comparison. However, this is the item I meant when I was talking about Hades Medallion, as shockwaves are super versatile and also insanely good against third parties. You eliminate someone, and the moment you do, the third party arrives, just use a shockwave, best case on you and your enemy, and you will be separated enough to heal or simply flee. It's also of course super good for pushing and end game rotations. An easy pick for S tier. Almost the same can be said about rank 8, and honestly, I don't mind placing this one behind or in front of the shockwave grenades. Airbending. The obvious benefit is that it comes with infinite uses, but the, in my opinion, strongest aspect is that it cannot be cancelled. Nothing will stop you from running away from your enemies if needed, which is why, in my opinion, it's the best tool for staying alive this season. Even better than shockwaves and porta bunkers. And guess what? At the end of the day, staying alive is the #1 priority, and in my opinion, airbending is king at that. It's also way better than Wings at Icarus for pushing enemies, since you have way harder to track movement. I really like the added verticality as well, and in general, it's way better to control than shockwave grenades, which is why I put it above it. My pick for number 7 is also highly controversial, but I'm a firm believer in the Chains of Hades. I made an in-depth guide on it when they first dropped, and almost everybody that watched the guide ended up agreeing. This thing is insanely underrated and insanely strong. The issue with it is that it's hard to master, and it's really not that obvious how to play it right. They will return to the game very soon, by the way. Trust me, go watch my guide on it and be prepared to slaughter your enemies. Ultra briefly, the best use is to pull an enemy directly in front of your cover after doing a quick right side peek, then abuse the right side peek to finish them off. Another great aspect is that you can chase people that are running from you easily. This is the hardest season ever for finishing kills. The Chains of Hades are the best tool for preventing enemies from running. Keep this in mind. Once they return, be prepared and you will have a gigantic advantage. But other than that, there is so many different use cases of the Chains of Hades. Again, go watch my guide on it. It's way too much for this video. Okay, we're reaching the middle of S tier now, and my next pick will be the sniper rifle at rank 6. I had it at rank 1 last season. However, it got many nerfs this season, and most importantly, spawn rate, bullet drop, bullet speed were all nerfed severely. But at the end of the day, it can still one-shot you, and if you have the right attachment, it's still absolutely goated. And back to a controversial pick, as we make it into the top 5 above the sniper rifle, the Huntress DMR. Similarly to how I made a video on Nemesis AR versus Warforged AR, I made a video on Huntress DMR versus Reaper Sniper Rifle. And even then, before all the nerfs to the Reaper and buffs to the Huntress DMR, I already had it on top. Why? Consistency. But now it also has accuracy going for it too. Very briefly, how do most sniper rifle interactions go? Over 90% of the situations will be you either missing a shot, meaning you do nothing, or hitting a body shot, meaning you do roughly 110-120 damage, then using a movement to push and finish the fight. The Huntress DMR is leagues better at this play. Why? Because in the same scenario, you will easily deal more damage before the push with the Hunter's DMR, as the DPS is again leaks above the sniper rifle. Yes, occasionally you will hit the headshot with the sniper rifle, and then of course the sniper rifle is the best weapon in the game. However, in order to decide which weapon is the best on average, we have to look at the average outcome of a gunfight. And here the Hunter's DMR simply looks better. Many people like to argue that if you do a 1v1 Hunter's DMR with a sniper rifle, the sniper rifle can just one-shot, and to be fair, on long range in a straight up 1v1 peak battle, the DPS advantage of the DMR doesn't even matter. I'm telling you that you are borderline mentally disabled if you go for 1v1 fights against a sniper rifle anyways. Even if you play a sniper rifle. Never ever peak sniper rifles. Even the worst player in the history of Fortnite will land a lucky headshot and you'll be dead. The best play is always to avoid getting sniped, no matter which gun you play. Reposition until you can get shots on your enemy while they can't get a shot on you. And the Hunter's DMR is better at that. It's that simple. If you want to know how to play it as effectively as possible, check out my Hunter's DMR guide. Okay, that one took a while. On to rank 4. This might also be low for some people, but the Thunderburst SMG. Unbelievably... Tears game moment. Unbelievably... Unbelievably... I give up. Good DPS, guys. It has good DPS. Perfect accuracy, a high headshot multiplier, and everything you want from a close to mid-range weapon. As I predicted in the early phase of Season 1, while everyone was still playing Strike IR, I told you guys, no, the Thunderburst is better. And by the end of Season 1, everybody was playing it, especially in competitive Fortnite. Nice little moment for me, not gonna lie. It's pretty much as good as it gets for close to mid-range in every way you look at it. But there's one little item recently added to the game that beats it. But first, rank 3. The Gatekeeper shotgun. Man, what a banger of a shotgun. At the start of Season 2, people were trash talking it. But again, not me. I said from the first second I touched it, it will outclass the auto shotgun and make it irrelevant. People laughed at me on my stream. But look at what happened. It's the bread and butter of everybody's loadout. You simply don't see anyone using different shotguns past drop fights. And it's because this thing is insanely strong. It's super accurate, super consistent, no 7 damage shots, and the DPS is also very good. It also flows very nicely with a certain item, and in my opinion deserving of its spot at rank 3. I almost placed it at rank 2, but this spot went waterbending. Holy, I did not believe anything could beat the Thunderburst SMG, but waterbending is goated. When it dropped, I was sick and didn't play it. However, I saw other Fortnite YouTubers rate it and they all said it's mid, so I didn't even try it. Used it once because I randomly found it and thought, why not? And I was simply confused. How did people not see that this is absolutely broken? Maybe people weren't used to the way it shoots? Luckily in the game I come from, we had a weapon that was pretty much exactly this. Like even the ice aspect or water aspect. Looking at you, epic. So I was super used to it. But man, this item does everything the Thunderburst does, and is also insanely strong on long range, and regenerates your health in the water, and doesn't use up ammo. So you can start hunting people down the second you find it. What is the weakness of this weapon? Even reload speed is good. I almost made its own tier for it, as I promised in my elemental bending guide video. And if it weren't for the item I placed on rank 1, I would have done it. I don't think we will see an item as strong as this one again soon after it's vaulted. Enjoy it while it lasts. I'm sure everyone has this in their top 3 this season. But let's move on to the final item. All the way on top of S tier. As the easiest pick of all time for rank 1. Cerberus Medallion. Do I even need to talk about it? Is there actually people that don't see the value in this? Infinite instant movement that's godlike in fight, even in shotgun distance, that doesn't use up an item slot. It's so good. I don't ever want to play a match without it. I literally drop Grimgate every match at all times because I want to get it as early as possible. Yeah, I literally don't know what to say about this even. You really can't even compare it with anything. Remember when people thought the kinetic blade is OP movement? It's this, but without the charge up time and 3 uses at once with a 10-second replenish time. The literal GOAT movement item, and something I will deeply miss in future seasons. I honestly wish this would be a permanent thing everyone has from the start, as it reminds me so much of the gameplay of Run Royale, the game I come from. Fast, instant movement abilities are insanely skill-based and insanely strong, and of course super fun. No matter what you say, I can't place it below rank 1, and I honestly wonder if they will ever introduce a stronger item into Fortnite. Best item of all time. Okay. I know these tier list videos always create a shitstorm in the comments. Tell me what you disagree with most. Oh my god, I can't believe you put the Warforged in A tier only, TSK. But honestly, I love to hear it. Because at the end, this is what shapes how we look at things. Maybe you'll change your mind on some of these items, but not Sabros Medallion. If you enjoyed the video, appreciate the effort, want to see more, or just are a cool dude, leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video.